Hello, Professor Hendricks and classmates. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my community consulting project presentation. My community consulting project was a fundraising and awareness event in association with Save the Children India, and I will further explain it in this presentation. So the inspiration behind this idea came from my recent immersion trip. This summer I traveled to India with a group of Santa Clara University students on an immersion trip, and it was a wonderful experience, spending some time immersing ourselves in the culture of a marginalized community outside of our own. So this trip, being located in India, I saw many of the social injustices occurring there, such as child beggars who oftentimes are a product of human trafficking. These children are sold into the trafficking rings due to economic circumstances or some other vulnerability that makes them preyed on by criminal groups. So I was inspired by that, and I wanted to come back to the States and help in any way I could, so I discovered Save the Children India, a nonprofit organization that was founded in 2008, and since then it has provided emergency relief and aid to over 6 million children in India. Save the Children advocates for child rights and tries to combat the violation of these rights, including child trafficking. So the goal of my project was to raise at least $100, as well as raise awareness about child trafficking in India and the work that Save the Children India does, which I achieved through a fundraising event. This is an image of me in India while I was on the immersion trip. We traveled to an impoverished village while we were there for about a week. We got to spend some time at schools with these children who are not in the best financial situation, so unfortunately some of these children are targeted for child trafficking, but Save the Children does a great job providing for many of these children in these impoverished villages. The results of my project were successful. I successfully achieved my goals in raising at least $100, as well as educating some people about the injustices, the violation of children's rights in India, and the organization Save the Children India. So the main part of my project was a fundraising event, which I held. It was hosted at my aunt's house. My aunt is a graduate of Santa Clara University, and the weekend I gave the lecture, the discussion on Save the Children. She was having a reunion with about 20 of her fellow classmates from Santa Clara. They all graduated from Santa Clara together. So during that fundraising event, I gave a discussion on child trafficking and what I saw in India and this community consulting project, why I chose Save the Children India, what this project is to do in the community, and how the guests could help. Here is an image taken from the reunion of some of the guests, not all of them. As you can see in the middle, one woman is proudly wearing her Santa Clara University shirt. While I was planning my community consulting project, I anticipated not raising the minimum amount of my target amount of $100. So I was anticipating starting a GoFundMe campaign to reach that $100 amount to donate to Save the Children. But because I reached that minimum amount, this was not necessary. But if I were to do anything differently, I think I would further educate more individuals via social media. Social media, you have the power to reach so many different people, and even posting an article about the issue, anyone can click on, any of your followers or friends can click on that and read about an incident of child trafficking, and that's one way to increase awareness, and I think that's a wonderful way to do so. So the further education of individuals would be a beneficial furthering of my project if I were to do it differently. But overall, it was successful. So as I said, the goals were successfully met. I raised $100 and educated some people about this issue of child trafficking in India. As I mentioned before, there's always an opportunity for further awareness on social media. There's a huge audience on social media who could really benefit from seeing these articles and learning more, perhaps even feeling compelled to donate to this cause or other causes similar to it. This project also furthered the university's mission, the 3 C's, competence, conscience, and compassion. My project especially furthered the aspect of conscience because many of the guests were not even aware of some of the issues going on in India, such as child trafficking. So now they are fully educated on the issue, and Santa Clara University's mission was furthered. And in addition, another reason why I think my project was successful is that I presented to a group of Santa Clara University alumni who are already familiar with Santa Clara's mission, and they're always supportive of current students and graduates, and I think they were really excited to see what was going on at Santa Clara at present and my experiences. They were delighted to hear about my experiences in India with Santa Clara. So our common ground being Broncos was another large reason, I'm sure, why my project was so successful. I have included the 2 sample documents I used in my project, one of which is a handout that I provided at the discussion. I created this handout so the guests could take this information home with them and research Save the Children India further. And the second email is a correspondence between my aunt and me, expressing my thanks to her for allowing me to host this event at her home. This is the handout that I created. I gathered all the information from Save the Children India's website. Below the statement that says Save the Children India is the best non-government organization to support child rights is some background information such as when it was founded, how many children they have reached, and what Save the Children India does broadly to advocate for these children. And to the right are the breakdown of the 4 main areas in how Save the Children helps the children of India. So 4 categories are health and nutrition, child protection, education, and emergency relief. And below that is a breakdown of where the donations go within the organization. I provided that so the donors knew where their money would be going if they felt like donating. And 85% of donations received by Save the Children India go directly to those programs, as I mentioned previously, to provide immediate relief and assistance to these children so they can have the best future possible and the future they deserve. This is the email correspondence from me to my aunt. A lot of our correspondence were done either on the phone or in person, so I have little physical correspondence, such as email or text messages. The benefits of my project, there are a couple. The main obvious benefit is that the money I raised helped children be protected from the injustices in India by Save the Children India. According to the website, $100, or around 6,000 rupees, provides immediate relief to 2 children in India, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for those 2 children, it's everything. So that's a wonderful benefit of donating money to a responsible organization. Another part of my project that was beneficial is that I got to bring my experiences back from India to the United States and make them relevant in my own life. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to take what I experienced in India and incorporate it into my own life, my own personal life back here in California, but this project provided me with the perfect opportunity to do so. And with that, I will continue to and have, with this project, advocated for marginalized communities. It's one of my passions is standing with the marginalized and social justice, just as the university's value. Santa Clara University places a strong emphasis on social justice. So this project definitely furthered that value in creating a more socially just world. So in conclusion, my project was a success. I successfully reached the goal of raising $100, as well as raising awareness about child trafficking and child rights in India and Save the Children India and the work they're doing to advocate for these children. This project has also inspired me to further work with nonprofit organizations such as Save the Children. I think nonprofit organizations are wonderful. They do so much for our world. They're responsible ones, and it's one of my biggest passions and life goals to work with a nonprofit and continue to advocate for human rights and fight for complete social justice in our society. Thank you for watching this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments about my project or my immersion trip, I would be happy to answer them. My email is mstrong@scu.edu, and please do feel free to reach out if you have any questions.